okay, king, queen, the emperor and the empress. Capricorn, Aquarius. I'm not trying to ship y'all, because I do know that some of you guys may not have a Capricorn or Aquarius in your life. All right, another Aquarius or a Capricorn in your life. But there's definitely earthy energy that's coming up here. It's a lot of fire energy that's coming up here, and whew, whatever this is, and even airy energy. Well, not so much actually. There's not really any swords in this reading at all. Actually, the only air that we got here is you, the queen, the star. So, family. This could be someone totally different. It doesn't have to be someone old and new. Knight of Cups, someone that's coming, back into your life with a cup of love, wanting to offer to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be that person. Okay. It can mean that you guys have been focusing on what you wanted and focusing on how you felt and really trying to make your dreams come true. And the Empress is someone that's definitely creating the utopia or the safe space or the happy space that they dream of, right? And there's nothing wrong with that at all, except that fact that there's some defensive energy that's coming up here and someone that's cool with the routine and being very, very, very earthy. Okay, all earth energy here, and then there's like a mixed bag on this side. So. But the Emperor and the Empress energy coming up in here does talk about a divine masculine and a divine feminine. And you could be a lesbian or a gay couple and still have divine masculine and divine feminine qualities in your relationship. They're energies, not specific statements of sex or gender. Okay? So, that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it, right? The first card that we're looking at here is the Nine of Wands. Please be sure to pick the side that resonates with you guys the most. But this person is already thinking of this relationship as, I need to protect myself, this is too dangerous. Or a little bit of, I do want this, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure. Nine of Wands also can indicate, too, that this person is not willing to back down. This person is not willing to give up on a relationship. Even though they're exhausted, they feel like they've beaten down to the ground, and they've taken a good couple swings. This person is still hanging in there. But they've also put the guard up to kind of protect them from being beat down. But that also, protection is also a prevention, okay? Sometimes we can protect things and sometimes we prevent things. And a lot of the times, protection is prevention. And unfortunately, this person is not necessarily open to things as much as they seem, even though they're not willing to give up on something. There's a really weird grid. Not grid, but a little weird placement in that. In the very middle, like they're blocking themselves off as to what they want because they've been through so much already. So it's understandable this person is defensive because they've gone through some shit, but at the same time, they're not necessarily opening the door or allowing this amazing manifestation energy and potential reconciliation energy or new opportunity come into their life because they're protecting themselves. Now, the other person has the Queen of Pentacles as their mind plane, so they know that I think this person's very independent, focusing on work a lot. This person is also very focused on their on materials. For some reason, their whole emphasis is all about working. It could be what makes them happy or what they see great value in, but this person also doesn't really see anything outside of material, outside of the situation other than material. I know the Queen of Pentacles is all about value. She isn't always necessarily about material, but considering that this is about how they see the relationship, they understand that I think they see themselves as, if I have this, it will equal that, and I will have this. They understand that routine is important, and that working hard is important with this relationship. And I do think they see this person, or they see this relationship as something that's great in value to them. But I have this feeling that they also I think they kind of equate that value to being at a certain point, being at a certain point financially, or so on, right? So, that being said, this person is presenting themselves as the Two of Pentacles. Now, the Two of Pentacles, to me, is someone that's juggling two different things, keeping the balance of a situation, looking at the practical side of things instead of the emotional side when it comes to making a decision about whether or not they're willing to pursue something, put their hard work and effort into it. If it's enough if that value of whatever these options are, the options that they have are, whatever they're juggling, whichever these, Pentacles values are, right? Which one is worth going after? And well, again, with this person seeing that this relationship is something of great in value, I think they're having a hard time figuring out, or trying to having a hard time, pursuing any of these options here, because even though both have great value, they don't really know which one means more to them, because they're not looking at how they feel or what they want. It's like having an opportunity to go to college and being in an amazing relationship that can, that can span lifetimes. Both, I think this person wants both of those things, but which one means more to them in this moment to go ahead and go after those things? Because this person would typically be the long-term thinker, someone that kind of sees the future or lives in the future. They try to prepare and get everything set for whatever it is that they're trying to reach to, instead of working on what they have now and building something in the moment so that way they can have that future. This person, to me, with the Queen of Pentacles, is a future chaser, right? This person's a future denier at this moment. Future chaser, future denier. And the reason why they're pretty much the same is because this person, while they're chasing the future, is always going to be way farther than they always anticipate it to be. Because they're always doing something, they're doing it from a front to back view instead of from, back to front or whatever, right? They're always doing something for the later instead of doing something for the now. So they're always going to be setting themselves backwards as they're putting themselves forward. And this person is not necessarily inclined to, to embrace the future, because they're too busy worrying about what happened before and what they're not willing to tolerate now. It's really interesting. But neither one direction is wrong or incorrect. But I feel like it's not doing them the service that they want, because obviously this person has something that they want. Like I said before, Aquarius, you already know what you want already. They already know what they want. They already know what their star is, but they're denying that very thing because they're exhausted. They've been through so much shit. They don't want to go through that again. Now, this person, again, is a future tracer. They're looking at, how is this going to translate to my future? How is this going to improve in my value? And instead of looking at what they want, they're thinking of everything in a very practical sense. And I do believe that maybe it may have been because they missed an opportunity in the past, and they don't want to pass up on the opportunity because they weren't aware of its value. But they're not doing again what they should have done in the very beginning, which is no longer looking at the situation as, what do I need to do now, or looking at the situation from a very practical standpoint. They have to look at what they, because everything was taken care of here, period. They had to retract and look within themselves. This is the same situation. They have to look at how this person has to look at how they feel before they can make a decision of whether or not this is something worth pursuing or not. Because you can have a penny or you can have a nickel, but they're both coins. It's all depending on whether or not you feel like this thing is worth the time or whatever, right? I know it's horrible to use money as, money in that analogy, to kind of explain myself, but let's just think about it. If money didn't have any value and we did have a nickel and a penny, which one would you choose? Which one would you like? Would you rather carry around a thicker, heavier penny, or would you rather have, a lighter, smaller penny that has less? Like, it's all depending on what you favor the most. It's not necessarily exactly like that analogy, because money definitely has a value system. And of course, we do want the most out of that ladder most of the time. But if we take a situation as like a concept as simple as that and twist it just a little bit to kind of understand where we are, it does kind of help make sense of the situation. Hopefully. Because really what this person is doing is like, okay, college or relationship. Both of those things mean something to to that person, but how much? And what does that person want first? What does this person want? And that kind of decision making is what's keeping this situation from not moving forward, because they both mean something of great value to this person, but they're not pursuing it because they don't know how they feel, what they feel the most about it. Some people would choose family over education. Some people would choose owning a business over having a family. It all depends on what this person's value system is for themselves anyway. Okay. So it's a very interesting concept for this whole thing. And the reason, like I said, the reason why this person is coming up with the Two of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles in their mind plane is to do with the Seven of Pentacles. They're not sure of what of the situation being either worthy of work, or they're not sure of what of either what to do, or if this is something they want to pursue. They put a lot of work and value and effort into it, but they still don't know if it's something they want to continue to grow because they're not where they want to be. Now, what brought you two together is the Fool, which talks about a brand new beginning, situations coming, coming. I think you guys came together when you guys were, trying to make something of yourselves, trying to make something new out of your situation, taking a leap of faith, really, with this relationship that you guys both started out in, because you guys both were control freaks, the Emperor. Some of you guys both were either both control freaks, both of you guys had your own ways of seeing things and doing things, and that's not a problem. But the ego did get in the way, because the Emperor is the challenge. Somebody's ego is definitely in the way. Their way or the highway, someone's stubborn. The stubbornness from both of you guys is the reason why you guys are either not together or there's issues in the relationship. Stubbornness. And I don't think that there is much of a workaround regarding stubbornness other than the Empress, which is someone that is passionate and nurturing and patient. The underlying energy is being more receptive to love and more flexible versus the Emperor who's rigid and stiff. We need that fixed energy, but we also need that compassionate, loving, flexible energy that the Empress can provide. But everybody's here being all tough and this is my way or the highway. Nobody has any sort of loving, emotionally flexible energy here. Nobody's able to provide that sense of ease that the Emperor needs to be able to soften his opinions. Okay? Everybody's too busy being the alpha. Who's going to be the... I don't want to say omega, but the omega of the situation. There's nothing wrong with having two alphas, but one has to learn or has to be okay with giving birth or being the person that's being taken care of or loved on and being emotionally open and being vulnerable. Both sides may have to be vulnerable to a certain extent. This person's got a structure they don't want to break, but they're not happy with it. This person is tired of being where they are, but they also don't want to give up on the potential of great happiness. But then something's got to give. You can't have your way and then go and then be, expect the situation to fly the other way too. It's like it's like the Two of Swords for both parties here. Both parties are holding up two swords. You can't have two contradicting energies standing in the way. It's like pushing a door against a pool door. You can't do it. Or vice versa, pulling a door against a push door. How is that going to work? It's just too much. It's like, or having two positives, think of a magnet, having two positives going against each other, or two negatives. It's going to repel. It's not going to do anything. Okay. And that kind of explains a lot with this Nine of Wands person, and even with the Queen of Pentacles person. If everybody's doing their own thing, being independent because they only trust themselves to handle it, and because they don't believe that being vulnerable gets them anywhere, that's part of the reason. The ego is the problem because nobody can trust other people to do what they believe they can do themselves better than someone else. Or they have put their trust into someone in the past and that's fallen through. But in order for you to receive more, in order for you to have more, you have to be in a place of vulnerability, which is being open, being emotionally open. Queen, like we saw earlier, right? The High Priestess and the Queen of Swords, those are two contradicting energies. The Queen of Swords is not quite open to things. She'll listen to you, but if she don't like it, she'll cut you off in a heartbeat. The High Priestess, in my opinion, she's open to all things. Just know if this works or if this not works. A message is a message is a message. She'll receive what she will receive. The Queen of Swords, she's like, well, I'm sifting through. I'm filtering the situation. She's not quite as open. She will cut while the High Priestess will just do nothing. That is filtering what you receive, but you have to be vulnerable to receive what you want. It's really weird. It's understandable. Because if you've been beaten down, or if you have had situations with stability, you're not going to necessarily be too apt to either open your door up to have someone else come in and shake all that stability up. And you're not going to be too apt about somebody coming in and wreaking havoc in your working situation that you've built for yourself. But if you want to reconnect, if you want a new opportunity in love, if you want to feel stable, if you're tired of feeling like, everything that you do, it always puts you 10 steps back, because what you really want is a relationship. You have to allow yourself to be able to receive the new love that's coming in.